stay a while and listen.
Welcome to the AOP, or Agony of Positivity podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ross, and with me is the other host.
I'm the Big Bopper.
Big Saul Train. I think we determined last week is your new name.
Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah,
So,
Soul Train.
I was going to do this thing. There's this streamer guy that I've watched from time to time who part of his whole gimmick is opening a can and then saying, "What's up? It's your boy," in his name.
Yeah.
I was going to do that, and I'd opened my drink before it started, so I can't do that joke now. But in the future, probably have to use your name, though, because a one-syllable name does not work right.
It's true.
On the video version, I'm wearing a very tight-fitting hat, and it looks silly, but my hair has not been shaved, and I look like a cancer patient due to the spottiness of the top of my head, because age and hairlines they're vengeful.
So you don't shave your head yourself? Do you have to give it professionally done, or?
Oh, Lord, no. You know how much that would cost? No, I take clippers to it. But the thing is, like, I'm real blind without my glasses. So to shave behind, I'm motioning right now, like behind my ears, like I have a weird hairline behind my ears. So it's really hard to get the clippers back there if I can't see. So I have to put contacts in to be able to shave my head safely. And I haven't put contacts in for the better part of a month now. So it gets, it's real sparse on the top. So it's no good.
So how's your, other than your hair, how's your chronication doing there?
Yeah, well, I'm still working from home. Today I put an awful lot of effort into this show, not paying attention to stuff. At one point, I typed a wrestler's name into my Skype at work and sent it. We'll go over that because the name of the wrestler is Bastion Booger. And fortunately, the person I was talking to was a work friend person and not like a supervisor, which kind of would have been even better because they would have been like, "What is that?" And then they would have had to search it. And then they would have seen a picture of this guy and been like, "What is this guy doing?" So
He's my idol. I love this guy.
Like, he's so good. Look at him. He's a body guy.
Sure.
But yeah, so that grocery store, for the most part, everything's been pretty normal. I finally got approved for the $1,200 money.
Okay, yeah.
Like, that finally showed up. So I have had some delays because my tax guy is dead or something. I don't know. I haven't heard from him in forever. So I haven't filed 2019. So if anyone's listening, this is the update. If you file 2018, but you haven't gotten around to 2019, check again. You might be. I just had to enter, my 2018 information and my bank account information, but it looks like I will be getting that. So, as a result, I also bought the little bit of the bubbly Chris Jericho pre-order from Ringside Collectible, so that when I get my action figures, I will have a title belt, because I'm not going to spend whatever the Chase Jericho that comes with the belt costs.
Sure.
Zero chance. So,
well,
how has yours been going?
With me, the governor of our fine state called me, and he's like, "Hey, would you like a epic edition of World of Warcraft Shadowlands?" And I was like, "Well, since you're going to give it to me, why not?" I mean, so.
Right, and here's some additional money to cover some other expenses that you might need.
It's ridiculous. The whole. I'm happy that I'm getting money, but the amount of money that I'm getting, this is sit at home, that it's more than what I'm making when I actually work.
Yeah, no, I am in the boat where I wish I could have got laid off because I would make more.
It just feels wrong. I don't know. I feel dirty.
Just pretend you're a business.
Yes. So
Yeah.
anyway, you know,
Or well, yeah, there's all kinds of things, but yeah, it's kind of crazy, but congratulations. Now, is the Epic the middle edition?
although it's the $80 one.
Okay, because the $80 one, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but I did the math on that. I was looking at it, and I was like, well, with the Epic, you get the 30 days free game time, so you're really only paying $5 more.
Yeah.
So, well, depending on how you do yours, but all right.
Sure.
So, yeah, it seems like we've pretty much done nothing in real life.
Yeah, I haven't done anything.
All right. So, do you want? So this week we're going to do our. I've just now decided it's going to be called Dudes in Gear because that's what I named
Dudes
the image
in
I
Gear,
made.
I like it.
Where
like
we evaluate wrestlers' entrance attire in a tournament format. So, I mean, we can talk about AEW for a minute or two.
Yeah, I say we just get that away because there's not a lot to talk about.
Okay, so I'm going to bring up the results from recent. I'm going to hit our bumper.
Well, I don't know what the hell's going on here, folks. Looks like he's just wearing blue hat.
This is a revolution.
So thirsty. I keep drinking. Okay, so did anything stick out to you on Dynamite this week?
Let's see here. The Dustin match was good.
Yeah. Were you surprised in any way that he won that match?
No, because what I think's going to happen is they're going to make Cody and him fight each other for the championship, and he's going to beat Cody.
You think they're actually going to have Dustin make it to the finals now?
Yep.
Interesting.
I think so.
Well, I want to talk about that for a minute then. So,
Okay.
But let's get through the rest here. So Dustin wins. I was completely unsurprised by him winning, even though it came out with he'll retire if he doesn't win.
Yeah.
I appreciate the effort into getting me to be more into that match, but there's no way. I would be curious if that would even have worked for a live crowd. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think they would have. I don't know. Like, I just didn't think that was going to happen. Now, if he
Yeah.
does it on the next match, then that'll be interesting to me. Because, like, well, now I really don't know. But yeah, so Dustin wins that match. Pretty good match. He had Brandy out there to neutralize Penelope.
Did the Goldberg tour? Yep.
Oh, man. We had another week of Tony Schiavone and Le Champion on commentary. I like Jericho on commentary.
He's just really good.
I should hate him because he does the get real loud for no reason, and that's usually a deal breaker for me.
Sure.
But something, as much as I still hate Jericho from the Dean Malenko feud, and I hate Schiavone from the Dean Malenko feud that magically exists that probably isn't real. What can you do? They're pretty good on commentary together.
So I went to the restroom and I just kept playing because I recorded AEW. So I went to the restroom and I didn't bother rewinding it, but I came back and Jericho and the rest of the bubbly bunch is dancing. What was that all about? Did I miss something or what was going on there?
I think not knowing the rest probably makes it better because you have no idea. But Jericho had a bottle of hand sanitizer, and the best dancer basically would win that.
Okay, gotcha.
And that whole thing was just, I didn't care for this. I don't care for that one, but I'm amused at the just absurdity of it. It's
Sure.
like the crazy stuff that happens in WWE where people are like, the reins and the dog food thing. I thought that was amazing. Like, there's there's certain things that are just absolutely stupid that I love. And then there's other things where it's like, this is the worst thing ever and has ruined wrestling. And then I turn into Jim Cornette talking about Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we got an Orange Cassidy match.
Yeah. I
So
was out in between this, so
it was
I don't know.
basically Havoc jumps him. So you eliminate a lot of Orange Cassidy's stick, but then you find out, like what you always see in his end, like, oh, he actually is capable if he tries, kind of thing.
Sure.
So he ends up with the win. I'm sure they're setting up some kind of match there. Did you see? We're all kinds of out of order, but the Sammy and Darby match again, where he did the splash onto the ladder that did not move an inch.
Yes. Yes.
I saw that. I was just like, oh no.
Dude, I saw a interview with Darby Allin. It was him and his wife.
Yeah.
They were talking to somebody, and you talking about this. Darby Allin is so socially awkward when he's giving interviews, and I don't know if he's still in character or what. But
I'm going to share a secret with you. So, from what I can tell, he seems like a very creative, artsy person.
Yeah.
And that is how my brother is.
Yeah.
For myself, who is a very factual person in a lot of ways, the way my brain works versus a super artistic person, it is dreadful to have conversations about things sometimes because the way now this is my experience, and I guarantee if you talk to enough people who know some really artistic people, there's a good chance they're going to tell you the same thing, is you are talking to them and they're in a different world when they perceive things almost. So my assumption is going to be that due to artisticness or from skateboarding, he has damaged his brain, which is also a possibility. The amount of time, like, I once fell skating into, it was like a 4-foot ramp. It was concrete. I hit the bottom and my glasses flew off to the top of the ramp. And then I continued skating. Because people who skateboard, much like wrestlers, are stupid when it comes to being injured and just keep on going. So there's a possibility of that. But yeah, when I watch him have an interview, it reminds me of if I were to interview my brother, it would be the same thing, where he just sees the world in a very different way, or he's looking at different angles of things. And that's how it feels to me, at least.
Since you're talking about skating, did you see what California did to that one skate park because of the corona?
No.
So there's this one skate park. I don't know where it's at, but a skate park. To keep people from skating in it, they hauled in a bunch of sand and just dumped it everywhere. And that
was the next picture of all the skaters with their push brooms?
No.
Oh.
So when skaters did, they went back and got their off-road dirt bikes and started like going through the park like that. It was great. I was like, well, what did you think was going to happen?
See, here in Ohio, like, no matter what, like, if there was a storm and then you showed up at the skate park and there was still water, there's always 2 to 3 people who had push brooms either in their car or in the bed of a truck, and that stuff would get swept away.
Gotcha.
I would be one of those people that...
You wouldn't have been shocked if you saw skaters out there just sweeping the sand away.
I'm surprised. Like, the reason I asked that is I expected you to be like, how'd you know? Not, no, a bunch of slackers. Because a lot of people, like, I only skated at a certain point, like mini ramp. And so that's basically, like 4 foot is usually your higher end on a mini ramp, I would say. But it's just like, it doesn't have vert on it. It's nothing like that, but you do like the tricks like on the coping or on the lip of it, however you want to call it. And I would have cleaned that off, which would take me no time because I only need a really small area for it. And that's all I need. So other people who are super into like the street where you're doing like the grinds on the, like the edges of stuff, they'd have a harder time, but
gotcha.
So that was an interesting detour.
I didn't mean to torpedo us. You just said skating, and
that might be interesting to somebody to basically
I thought
know
it was
that.
Funny.
Well, I like that they were like, "We're gonna get sand."
Yes.
I hope someone, if they didn't clean it up, I hope someone got like a big sign that said "No Anakins allowed." And they were using the sand to ward him off somehow.
Yes.
But yeah, so this Darby match is just them murdering each other, really. We get the weird ankle lock finish, Last Supper from Darby after Sammy catches him on the there was a lot of crazy stuff in this match, so I'm guessing these guys are just going to feud for the rest of their lives at some point.
Sure.
We got some Matt Hardy, we got Damascus, and we got Matt Hardy in this one. So I don't know if he did that on the original Broken Matt Run stuff, but that was kind of interesting to me. to get Jericho to show up?
It's weird, because I don't know. I think Matt Hardy and like Brody Lee.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that it sucks for them with the whole Corona thing happening. They're just, I don't know. It doesn't seem like you can really shine like I know they can, you know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're still. I would say they're doing okay, and the same goes for a lot of the stuff going on in WWE where it's okay.
Yeah.
But I would assume everyone who's able to be at shows and be on the recordings and do this is going to be better as a result. Like,
Sure,
imagine
yeah.
doing something, you're like, you know what, that turned out pretty good, and you have no crowd feedback, and then all of a sudden you go to getting it. So hopefully it'll help people out a ton.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
yeah.
and I've read that, I guess, starting sometime in May, I guess Florida is starting to allow TV broadcasts on closed sets to start happening again. So
Yeah, we'll see
Maybe
what's going on.
wrestling
Well, I
will
saw
start, yeah.
like AEW is going to do a show. Didn't research it very much, but coming up here 5/3 or something like that, whatever the date is. Let me look. I'll look at the calendar device real fast. Maybe it was 5/6 or after that, or who knows, or the 13th. My guess is
Yeah.
that they're probably needing to film another show or two, so it might still be the same thing, just more recent. But
Yeah.
let's see here. So we got the cleaner, Kenny. The cleaner is such a good name when he's not carrying around a mop and just being ridiculous about it.
Yes.
Just beat some dude. Like, I don't.
Yeah. That's all they say. Just beat some
Like-
dude.
That dude got like one or two things. Jericho made fun of his reverse, whatever he was calling it, loincloth, I believe. We
Yeah.
get like a Scorpio Sky package, which was good
Yeah.
to see. I like him. I have high hopes to see him. 200th episode of being the Elite. We got the crazy Young Bucks match, which
Yeah, that was actually pretty good.
I had zero expectations. I didn't know what I was getting, so I thought
Yeah.
it was excellent. Boneyard match, still better. I liked this better than the Firefly Funhouse, if it's even fair to compare those two, because
Yeah.
Firefly Fun, that was just something way out there that was entertaining, but like this was an actual match, sorta. I'm never gonna get tired of watching any version of Marty Jannetty try to run away from Shawn Michaels, even through
Sure.
a window. They did like the shoe spot from, I believe it was Candice LeRae, showed up. The one thing that this match made me realize that I already knew is how ridiculous the Northern Lights locomotion thing is. Like where he
Yes.
just keeps even when I see it in a match, it's just ridiculous. But him just doing it all the way across the backyard was amazing and insane. Like
Yes.
one of those things that I'm okay with in wrestling, but probably shouldn't be. Let's see. So we get the
Did
orange.
you? I read this one thing, and this is kind of go to WWE a little bit. Did you read what WWE is using to spray everything?
I read something about they had a super spray, and then that was
Yeah,
the
from,
end
like,
of it.
I guess it's made from Allied Bioscience,
Okay.
and so Triple H says what it does is basically it if there's any so once you spray it, it kills anything on the surface of that you spray,
Mhm.
but then it's like 90 to 120 days where it continues to kill viruses. That it just lingers, I guess, which is insane to me.
That seems not a that seems like very specific medical use, and not
Yeah.
just spray it on the performance center use.
I don't know. I mean, because I can send you the link if you want to look at it.
Please do, because I saw something about that, like where they had like something special, but
Yeah.
all right. Hopefully you sent us a legitimate link here.
Yeah,
I
porn.
have it-
Nothing but porn.
People do things. Why Allied Bioscience? always on antimicrobial surface protection up to 90 days.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's interesting. I mean, I've not read about it, so I'm not. I mean, I'm assuming Triple H wouldn't be lying.
I feel,
you know.
yeah. Well, I mean, the picture they have looks like a super sophisticated lighted room that Tony Stark would have.
Sure.
So, interesting. Yeah. That just
This is
doesn't
interesting.
seem like a public use thing at all to me. But all right. Well, hopefully it works and it's not.
Sure.
It would have been funny that we're putting some sugar water and some alcohol together,
Yeah.
and then
Just spraying bleach water everywhere.
right, too much bleach. We're mixing bleach and ammonia, and then we just set it by the ringside, and everybody gets pretty tired. But
Yeah.
so we got to see Mr. Mayhem, Wardlow, just pick a
Yep.
dude up and toss him like a pizza.
Yes.
I really like that move. I do not think that move is safe. I want to continue seeing it though. I swear that there was a time when Sid Vicious would get them up like a power bomb and spin them like that. And I'm gonna have to look for it one day. But I swear it wasn't like from like the on the shoulders and spin it. It was just like had them up and just spun them.
Like Psycho Sid
Yeah.
or Sid Justice.
No, it would have
Or-
been Sid Vicious because it was WCW when he was doing that, and I could be confused because I think it was when he was in the with Spivey, the skyscrapers or whatever they were calling them, or the dangerous buildings, or I don't know. Tag team names are ridiculous. The older you get, like it just gets
Dangerous
insane.
Buildings. That's great.
That's going to be our tag team name if we ever need to form a tag team. So
Dangerous Buildings.
we get number 10 here, joining the Dark Order, which was the bigger guy from a week or two ago on Dark, or I think it was Dark that he showed up. I hope that if his name is 10, he does get into a feud with Shawn Spears.
Yes.
That only
I
seems
was thinking
fitting.
the same thing. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
I imagine the entire wrestling world is thinking that.
Yes.
So, speaking of which, we got Mr. Brody Lee just killing a dude with a clothesline. We got a lot of murder on this particular one.
Yeah.
But that's
Well, I wonder, like, if Tony Khan, when they was filming all these episodes, was just like, hey, if any wrestler needs some extra money, you just want to be a jobber, you just get destroyed, we need some people, we'll give you some money.
it could have been
Just think-
because most of them are local or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was a time in my life where I hated the squash match, but I've gotten to this is with AEW because there's only the 2 hours a week and then whatever you're getting on Dark. Like I'm not gonna get to see Wardlow a lot, so seeing him in a squash match, just throw some dude as far as he can and spin him. It's awesome. Makes me want to see more of Wardlow. So there's like an artificial rarity to seeing people.
Well, especially like right now, and because if you know the reason why, because Tony Khan was basically helping these wrestlers out,
Right.
Because all their everything got canceled that they were doing. So, which makes it cool that he reached out and said, hey, we'll give you a little extra money here,
Right. Trying to make something good out of it. So.
Yep.
But yeah, like just in general, like seeing these the enhancement style matches, it's like, all right. There was a time I hated it because I wanted to see competitive matches, but now it's like, oh well, I I also haven't seen Wardlow do much more than a few moves other than the match with Cody, but it's like, oh, I actually am going to pay attention to this. It's kind of a nothing match, but not really. So, whereas WWE, you're seeing some dude do his entire moveset every single week, it kind of diminishes seeing them. I know a lot of the guys will talk about like, oh, Big Show should have been an attraction. And I'm kind of understanding a little bit more what they mean by that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, you wouldn't think I would care about this, but like MJF, I haven't seen him in hardly any matches. I'd like to. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
he's got that horrible hangnail.
Well, he's been teasing on.
Yes.
Because I forgot to tell you about this. Yeah, he's like teasing it on Instagram and Twitter. I guess he was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess
Well-
I guess in real life he actually did have like a real surgery, but he turned it into some kind of
Okay.
gambling.
Right. Well, because I was like, there's no way this is legitimate.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way this is going to turn out that hangnail was pretty much perfect. And I was like, are people really surprised? Now, I had not heard that he actually had a real problem.
But see, that's it. No one really knows because he's always in character.
Right.
I mean, he was wearing a cast, so I assume he actually had some kind
Something.
of surgery. Who knows?
Right. I mean,
Maybe
this would
all
be the
this
time
is
to get it
just
done.
Yeah.
If you can get it done.
Who knows?
I mean,
Yeah.
all right. So we already talked about this, the Kip Sabian thing. So there's that. Hold on, I gotta go up here a second because I totally somehow skipped it. Where, never mind. I'm insane.
Okay.
In my mind, I just combined two shows.
Gotcha.
For one, did you see? So that will conclude AEW. Did you see the leaked photo? Supposedly, I don't know if this is true, of the top of the WWE building for the Money in the Bank.
No.
I'm going to send you a link.
Okay.
I'm going to try to explain this as best I can to our regular viewing audience. So there is a picture of like a crane basically on top of Titan Towers, and then there's some like pictures of Ring, and then I don't know if this is a concept art or what this is because it looks like it's at night, but it's got the Ring and it's got some ladders, and then it looks like it's been set down in the middle of a Christmas tree farm. Like, I mean, would you agree that that is fair? Like,
Yes.
they're perfectly lined up, so it's probably just like what's on the top of the building or whatever. But it genuinely looks like they dropped like a trailer for like a production office or something, and there's just
Okay.
like a Christmas tree farm just sitting there with the Ring. So now this could be really cool.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's like a was it Boulder? What was the movie where they race across the country? Cannonball Run.
Yes.
I hope it's like that, but up a building. And like someone gets smart and takes the elevator. Like there's all kinds of crazy stuff that could happen that could be amazing.
See, something like this is pretty neat because they're thinking outside the box. They're like, hey, Corona's doing this, so
Right.
we're going to do something different.
I can guarantee you, if you gave me $1 million, or like
Yeah.
for the situation we're in, what is WWE going to do for Money in the Bank? If I ever got to it, it would take me weeks to be like, I know what they're going to do. They're going to start at the base floor of their building and go to the top. I never get to that idea. So
Yeah.
I would love to know the conversation that led to this. Because
Yeah.
it's not like super surprising, but it is definitely an out there idea, I would say. So I'm real curious to see how I have the feeling it's either going to be really good or really, really bad, but I'm going to be watching either way.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So are you ready to do our tournament of clothing?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have a special bumper for this, so we're just going to go to it. Here, wait, I got something.
I'm in control here, and you're gonna give me what I want.
Okay, I did a short version of the Batista Give Me What I Want. So
There
what
you
we
go.
have on the screen here, and I will put some kind of show note link to this or something, some way to get the picture of all these people, or I might actually make a bracket and put the pictures on put the pictures to the bracket, something like that, where we can send a link to it through the Dropbox thing or whatever, so
Yeah.
people can see what we got here. Or you can go check out the YouTube show and just look for the bright yellow part of the screen because that's what the background of this thing is. So we both came up with 10 people for our outfit battle here, and I'm going to go through them and give a little bit of a description of what they got going on, and then I randomly generated the tournament bracket, which I spent much longer looking for a generator than I did actually doing it, because I was trying to do it at work before I got off and before we recorded. So
Gotcha.
we have, as I mentioned last week, Bastion Booger is one of my picks for this. The picture, he only had one gear that I'm aware of that was brand new. It was dirty. And he is in the position of his finisher, which is basically just sitting on a dude's face.
Yes.
Is the picture there. So I'm going to basically be listing mine first here. I have Mortis, which was Canyon, but Mortis in green with the mask specifically. There is a purple version, and there were some times where he didn't have the mask. It got real weird. I have The Miz in his golden robe attire, which I think is one of the best. Some of his other attires almost made it, but I decided this was the best. And Miz is in fact awesome, and everyone will one day realize it. Probably after he's dead. I got Rick Rude from WrestleMania 5, where he had the Intercontinental title airbrushed onto his tights.
Yes.
We have Brutus the Barber Beefcake during the brief period where he wore the titanium mask that was made by NASA, I think they said at the time. I have Jushin Thunder Liger in the traditional red and white with the gold Green Ranger style shield. Or the Green Ranger has the Jushin Liger Thunder style shield. I'm not sure which one technically came first. We got Ted DiBiase, $1 Million Man. It is his traditional black and gold tuxedo that sparkles. We got the Shield as a trio, which was the SWAT vests. And then the one I particularly went for is where they had the I believe they're paintball masks, where they had like the hound stuff painted on them. So I have that.
They didn't wear that a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that was only the one match during the Evolution feud, but it looked awesome. Gotcha. Ambrose's I thought looked the best because he had the hood, but I saw that and I was like, that is really good looking. I like their gear in general, but I thought that one stuck out to me. I got good old Double J version of Jeff Jarrett. This is his orange and white, where the letter J is everywhere they could possibly get it, with the light up hat. Now, this is not the light up eyeglasses version, which is a shame that they did not overlap. And then I have Lance Archer in his mostly red gear, which I've commented on more than I probably should. So, now getting to your picks, we have Mordecai, which is the all-white Undertaker, the Overgiver. That's the total reverse. We have, I can't figure out, and we were talking about this, because there's a Nasty Boy laying on the ground, so I don't know when this was, but it's Sting, Crow style, sorta, but he's in shape and tan, slightly shorter hair, and he has like he doesn't have the singlet top to it. So I'm not sure, but he looks awesome, and it's got like the black leather pants, and instead of like the foam pads or whatever, like on the knees and the thighs, with the cod piece, it's just like patent leather over a different texture leather. We have, I guess this was Madness, or the Madness era Macho Man, is that correct?
Yeah, this is when Macho Man was traveling with three women.
Yes.
His girlfriend, what's her name?
Gorgeous George.
Molly Holly.
Oh yeah.
And I forget the other, Alundra Blaze, but what's her WCW name?
Medusa,
yes. So
okay.
that's when he was traveling in that group of women.
Yeah, so, but he's got like this, the see-through mesh top with stars on it, and then the black. I don't know. That was a weird era for Macho Man. You got the NWO. So I'm assuming you were just going for the general NWO, like all black with the base shirt.
Yeah, I mean they were pretty much all the same. Yeah.
Right. We got Big Boss Man. In this, he is doing the crucifix style stretch. That if you played the No Mercy games, you probably were like, row it. I assume that's how, where knees in the back, you got the arms, and then you give the extra torque. But this is Cobb County, Georgia's finest blue shirt version of Big Boss Man.
Yep.
This particular one looks like it's before he lost all the weight and got in really good shape.
Yeah.
We got Ahmed Johnson. It's Ahmed Johnson wearing, this is like when he was Intercontinental title. So it's just his red gear with the really weird boots and knee pad that came behind the thigh for some reason.
Yeah.
We got Bruiser Brody. I don't remember him ever wearing much variety, so it's Bruiser Brody. We have, now I assume this was intended that it's the New Japan cleaner Kenny Omega, where he looks kind of like the Terminator mixed with Escape from Snake Plissken or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so he's got like the aviators and the gloves and the trench coat, all black. We got Raven. It's interesting that you found him in a shirt that's not Dinosaur Jr. I didn't know that was possible. And then we have Mr. McMahon in the weird pork pie fedora style hat, which I'm almost certain is after he lost to Donald Trump and Bobby Lashley.
Okay.
But again, for our audio, I have him in the bottom corner looking up longingly at Hogan. Is what I was going for with the way this picture is laid out. So
I like it.
All right, so we're going to get to the tournament bracket here. So again, this was randomly generated, so there are basically 4 qualifying rounds that lead into the real thing. I could not find something that did it better or broke it into like 2 sides, so I just put in all the names, hit generate, and this is what we got. I would have seeded this differently, but RNG, as we know from video games and Hearthstone especially, is a cruel mistress. So our qualifying matches are going to be Brutus in his titanium mask and Bruiser Brody. We have the Shield against Lance Archer. We have Miz in the NWO, and then Ahmed Johnson and Jeff Jarrett. And that'll feed in, and then we'll kind of go from there. So our first one, so Brutus in the titanium mask, and you have Bruiser Brody here. So for this one, I'm going to explain how awesome this titanium mask was. So Bruce Beefcake was injured in this parasailing accident. Somehow as a child, I knew about this. I don't know if it just made mainstream news because it was a dude getting wrecked in a parasailing accident, surviving, and he happened to be a wrestler, so it was a big deal. Bruce Beefcake was popular enough that I had a friend who lied that he had a cousin who went to his barbershop to get his hair cut, and it was always perfect. That wasn't true, if you were curious. Bruce, he was not a barber, to the best of my knowledge, and that's never been verified anywhere. But, so going back, so they made this mask in Hogan's colors of yellow and red, because I might be making this up, I didn't do a ton of research. I swear Hogan said he had a friend at like NASA or something use the magical titanium metal to make this mask, which makes
I don't think it's far-fetched. That might have
something
happened back then.
right. But I could have swore it was NASA, but it might have been a real titanium mask. Who knows? Hogan's probably got more stroke than anyone at this era, but it was weird to me because even as a kid I was like, well, how's he going to be allowed to just wear a metal mask? And I swear there was also a promo where Hogan, because they were going to go up against Money Inc., IRS and DiBiase, and IRS had like the metal briefcase, the Halliburton, that he would knock people out with. I swear there was a promo on like Superstars or whatever the syndicated show was, where Hogan had one of those suitcases and just started hitting Beefcake in the face with it to show that it wouldn't do anything, which also doesn't make sense because if I got a mask on or not, if I get racked in the face and it's pushing into my surgically repaired face that happened in 1990, and I think it was like 3 or 4 years later before he could wrestle. Insane. And then in the match itself, DiBiase hurts himself on it. Hogan uses the thing as a weapon. It's just insane. But that is why I think that is the most amazing gear set ever, because Beefcake basically just has to look like Hogan's partner.
So with Bruiser Brody here, so the reason I chose Bruiser Brody because from all the stories I heard about the guy was a legitimate, just
beast,
rough guy. He was really tough, Just, I mean,
Basically, I've
Lucky
heard
did,
where he needed to. Oh well, no, that was actually Stan Hansen. But yeah, Brody was just a beast for sure.
so, and his outfit was just basically him. He was shirtless. He taped his fingers up, and I think he had like some kind of like, I don't know, like fur,
Right.
fur like thing he wore or something. So that's. I mean, and I think that is he just looked like a wild man,
Right.
and that pretty much, from what everything I've heard, pretty
Was
much sums up who he actually was.
Right.
You know?
so on this one, because if I'm comparing the two, like, what do I want to see in a match? I personally am going with Brutus out of the ridiculousness of it. But what do you think?
I'm kind of agreeing with you on this. I mean,
Okay.
if you're going to be Brody or Brutus, just for sheer outfit, I mean,
It's just
the outfit, Brutus's outfit kind of matches Hogan, and they
Right.
made him,
well, and just to me the absurdity of it, because Brody was just pretty much it was a good look, but I don't think it can touch just the spectacle part of the outfit. Now, this is one of those things where I was saying I don't like the ring, because I think if you put Brody against somebody else, it moves on. But this Brutus is pretty sweet.
Sure. So
all
yeah,
right.
I agree.
So we'll have-
I think Brutus. I think Beefcake needs to move on.
All right. So now we got and this I wouldn't have pitted together. We got the Shield with the painted up masks, and Lance Archer with his red gear, not the black. I think the red's much better. So with this one, what do you think? Because this one is pretty much like there's not a lot to it other than just looking at it. But
Yeah, I'm just going to have to go with Lance Archer.
yeah, I agree. That's probably one of my favorite outfit looks. It looks cool. It fits him. There's I saw a picture from New Japan where he has the same thing on, but he's wearing this really weird spiked helmet that I don't understand what was going on with it, but
Sure.
I haven't seen that in AEW, so we'll do that. All right. So that one's pretty easy. Lance Archer is moving on. We got Miz in the gold against the NWO.
Yeah.
Do you want to make your case for the NWO?
They just look cool. They just had the. If I'm thinking of a faction,
They're top of the list.
And maybe this is why I think of factions. I mean, they all matched. They all wore the shirts.
Right.
And you knew who they were.
There was unity to it.
Maybe I like my bad guys to advertise who they are, I guess.
So the case I would make for Miz is that this gear is just sweet. But yeah, I can't, as far as like recognition, looking cool, I would have to go with NWO as well. You know what is a shame though, because the picture you picked is where it has DiBiase and he's just wearing the black with the sports coat.
Yeah.
You know what would have been amazing is if it would have been Jimmy Hart instead, with one of his crazy airbrush jackets.
I really think they missed out on there not having Jimmy Hart a part of the NWO.
Well, doing Ted DiBiase, because he was the $1 Million Man and associated with it, it explained financial backing. So it made a ton of sense. But just imagine how awesome Jimmy Hart with an airbrushed jacket. He'd have his megaphone.
Oh yeah.
That could have been amazing.
Yep.
So all right, so we got NWO. Yeah, I'm pretty hurt about the Miz losing, but I just can't see it. So we got Ahmed Johnson and Double J Jeff Jarrett. So
Yes.
I need you to explain to me Ahmed Johnson.
There's just something about his look. I mean, because he was just a big guy.
Yeah, no, he was
And,
scary.
I mean, and you really think about it, all he was just a ripoff of Hacksaw Jim Duggan, but he was more buff. I mean, because he came out because he had a 2x4. And
Well, I
everything,
think that was
so,
a different point where they were doing like a Survivor Series, but I mean, he wrecked Goldust. Like, he was wrecking fools. He feuded with the Nation. Yeah. The
Yeah, I mean, like. So going up against Jeff Jarrett, I think Jeff Jarrett advances. Just
yes,
because Jeff Jarrett's outfit is just insane.
I would like to again point out how many letter J's, because there's 2 J's on each sleeve. There's a J on each side of the jacket front. There's J's on the shoulders. There's 2 J's on the pants. There's 2 J's on the hat. I believe there's 2 J's on the back of that. And I'm sure the boots had J's somewhere.
Sure.
Like, how does that mean? We're going to put the letter J all over you.
Sure.
You're going to give me how much? Sure, whatever. Doesn't even have to be J.
And this doesn't go with the outfit, but just the fact that Jeff Jarrett was pretending to be a country star. It was just, yeah.
Dude, he had that song. It was awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, what this leads us to is we're going to have the bracket is going to be fulfilled a little bit better now. So we now have Brutus against Jushin Thunder Liger. We're going to have Bastion Booger against Mortis. Rick Rude against Lance Archer. We got Vince in a Hat against Macho Man with Stars. Raven and the NWO. Sting and Kenny Omega. Which really would be an awesome actual match if you could go back in time a little bit. We're going to have Mordecai and Double J. And then we got Bossman and DiBiase. So
Okay.
let's get to Jushin Thunder Liger and Brutus. So now, have you watched much Jushin Thunder Liger stuff? Or you just
yeah, I have.
okay? So he's basically a real life action figure.
Sure.
He has a lot of different versions. I went with the classic here. I can't say much more about that. Brutus is still, I mean, nothing's changed. It's ridiculous. The entire getup is just insane. The mask doesn't even look like it fits his face very well. It's so bulky because it's metal. So what do you think on this one?
So I mean, both characters' outfits, whatever, are ridiculous.
Right, but Jushin Liger
If
at
I'm
least takes the shoulders and the cape off, and then it's just
Yes.
like a crazy mask.
For that fact alone, though, I'm going to have to go with Brutus. I'm thinking he has to advance because his outfit is just so ridiculous.
I am okay with Brutus advancing.
Yeah.
Just because, like Jushin Thunder Liger looks cool, but there's something about just the ridiculousness of this.
Now, if his mask was given to him by a dragon or something, I mean...
Well, I mean, there
then
could be... I don't know the lore to Jushin Thunder Liger. He could be like the Thunder King or something, but all right.
Exactly. Now, if his mask had magical powers, maybe then, but no. I'm going to go with Brutus.
All right. So now we got Bastion Booger and Mortis in green. So I'm going to make 2 cases here. So Mortis...
I'm just going to
Yes.
say mine. And then you can do whatever. There's no way in what universe or whatever that Bastion Booger beats Mortis here. But go ahead.
let me sell you on Bastion Booger for a minute here.
Gotcha.
So, Bastion Booger is a very heavy man. He has absolutely no athletic build whatsoever.
Yes.
I don't understand how he is a wrestler or what was going on. Like, I'm sure there's like some backstage story to it, but I don't know. Here's what I remember from being a little kid. I was like, that guy looks dirty. Like, his clothing was like that shade of gray that it's like, it needs thrown out. But,
Yes.
So if you can't see a picture of him, I encourage you to look him up and be amazed. But, so he has the traditional just trunks, like, like underwear style trunks that go well above his belly button. And then, to extenuate that he is very out of shape, they took suspenders. So imagine you have suspenders. Now you cross them in front of you so that they cross right in the center of your chest. And then, for some insane reason, you put a belt on right below your man boobs to draw even more attention to them. And then your finisher, so due to his weight, I don't know how to be nice, he is clearly would be billowing over on a pair of pants. It's like a beer gut style. But they're pulled up so high that it actually makes it look even worse. And then his finisher, and he's pale, like there's no tan, so he's not being done any favors. His beard is has to be intentionally scraggly. It's like a goatee style bushy beard. All his vignettes were him eating food and just dropping them on his chest, in which he was in his gear for some reason, like just away from the ring. And his finisher is to stand above you and drop down and sit on your face while doing like this weird dance thing.
Yeah.
All of this is on purpose. This is a designed character that was like, this is going to be good. And then you have Mortis, who is a Mortal Kombat enemy for Glacier.
Yes.
Which is Chris Canyon, who is awesome, but looks cool. You can't tell me that they put more effort into Mortis than Bastion Booger.
I'm going with Mortis here. Sorry.
All right. I was hoping I could sway you. But no, I agree. Mortis is definitely the better. But if I could have convinced you that Bastion Booger was the greatest thing ever, because you gotta admit what I just laid out, like that is what they had to be thinking, right? Like, we need some suspenders and a belt across the sternum to bring his man boobs out and push the belly out more.
I don't think that much creativity came into it. I think they're just like,
there is
you're fat.
There's no
We're gonna make
reason.
you fatter looking.
There's no reason.
I don't know.
No reason at all for that weird crisscross garbage on him, other than to draw attention. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Sure. I think they were just trying to make just a disgusting looking person. They're like, okay,
they did a good job.
I can picture Vince McMahon saying, I don't like looking at you. I like it. So let's go ahead and make it even more so.
I hope one day I get to meet Vince McMahon to find out that, like, everything is either 100% true or he's not like that at all, and people, like, he encourages people to just make up stuff if they leave the company, but he's the greatest guy ever. All right, so we're going to end up with a battle of masks here. This is going to be interesting. So next we got Lance Archer. Yeah. Lance Archer and Rick Rude.
Okay.
I love the novelty of when Rick Rude unveiled these tights. And Jesse Ventura's like, oh my God, he's already got the Intercontinental title.
Yep.
In my mind as a child, he believed that was really the Intercontinental title. Like, he was convinced by it. Obviously,
he was
that's
a champion in his own heart.
Yes. But so I think that's amazing. I'm a fan of Airbrush, so is RVD. I don't think this compares to Archer's get up at all, though. As far as, like,
no,
cool.
I mean, it's a shame because I really want to vote for Rick Rude, but
right. If we were doing this as a wrestler and their gear as a whole, it's kind of like comparing a match versus someone's career. Gear as a whole, I think Rick Rude would do very well because he did some where he had people's faces on it and all the crazy stuff that he did. There's some really cool stuff, but as far as how we're doing this, where it's this particular get up, I think Archer has to win, is what I would say.
Agreed.
All right.
Agreed. Yep.
I just wish he had a different
It's
finisher.
Shame. It's a shame. So, I don't want to do it, but I was Archer.
All right, so we got in the weirdest combination I ever thought I never thought Vince would make it on this, but Vince in a hat against the Macho Man. I genuinely, because overall I think this is one of the more bland Macho Man looks, but everything that was going on, like you were talking about, is just ridiculous.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, so this Macho Man, like, he had like a gang of women that would basically they would win matches for him, basically, because I guess he was just super villain, so he needed to cheat for everybody. Yeah.
Right. And then Vince is just, this particular picture is hilarious. The way it fits in, like him at the bottom here. But like Vince in a hat is great, but I think kind of like with Beefcake, where just the craziness of everything that goes along with that particular look can be taken into account, and Macho Man gets some revenge on Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
All right, so we're in agreement there. All right, so now we got Raven. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with Macho Man going on, or do you think it's Vince?
No, I mean, no, I agree. I think Macho Man should move on. It just Vince McMahon though wearing his hat, because since you told me, I wasn't watching wrestling during all this, so
Oh,
I
you
didn't
missed
know why
out.
I didn't know why Vince was wearing a hat.
Was I right? Was it after the?
I don't know.
I'm almost certain it is. I can't imagine him ever wearing a hat for real. The let's see here. So we got Raven in the NWO.
Yep.
Now, do you want to try to argue for Raven over the NWO? Because basically, Raven either inspired a lot of wrestling fans to look exactly like that, or he stole that look from everybody looking like that.
Yeah, that's a good way of pointing it. I mean, I think everyone, when Raven was dressed like this, everyone looked like this.
Right. It is a cool look. I think on the WCW NWO Revenge game, Raven looks the coolest in that game. And the Even Flow DDT was sweet. So
Now I think the NWO moves on, but I think Raven's flock was actually cooler than the NWO. But
I mean, you had Itchy Billy Kidman.
they were never going to get, top billing over Hulk Hogan. So
No. Yeah, if they would have came along at a different time, or if they would have potentially showed up in WWE,
yeah,
probably. But you got some good stuff out of the flock for sure.
Sure.
But yeah, I would say NWO's got to go over Raven, which is sad for Raven. What about Raven?
Yep. What
All
about
right.
me?
Now this one, we got Sting, black and white
Yeah.
Sting, against Kenny Omega.
It's weird because they're dressed very similar here, as far
Yes.
as the black and
It's basically what's cooler, face paint or aviator sunglasses?
I don't know, because this thing looks really really cool right here.
Yeah, that's this is kind of like a toss up.
Yeah.
I would almost say that like at this time, like Kenny Omega was definitely getting a ton of popularity, but Sting was like a big thing right now for this era of the picture.
Yeah.
Like basically like that time frame. I'd still like to know the exact day of this photo.
Now,
because I even reverse image searched this thing and couldn't
No.
find exactly when this happened.
to be fair to Kenny Omega, now we did this with Raven just now. We compared it to what was going on with society. So he was dressing kind of like how everything was happening.
Right.
Sting pretty much stole his gimmick from the
Crow.
Crow.
This is fair.
Kenny Omega, the cleaner was that was the original idea.
More or less, where he was told to be the cleaner and then started coming out with a mop, which actually kind of makes me like Kenny Omega better. in a
Yeah,
way.
so I'm going to have to go with Kenny Omega because
All right.
since Raven lost by doing the logic of
Yeah.
what's I would go with
I will say this is a sweet looking Sting, but
yes.
I can get behind Kenny Omega. I would say that one might be an upset.
Yep.
Could be, but nah, I like the logic there. So this one's going to be fantastic to compare. Mordecai and Double J. Good God. What? So,
You couldn't have two different characters happening right here.
whew. So Mordecai, like,
Yeah.
I told you before the show, I think, where I don't know if it was No Mercy or WWE 2000, whatever it was, I had made literally the Overgiver and just whited out the Undertaker basically.
Yeah.
I switched his finish to be a crucifix powerbomb, and it was the Overgiver, like
Yeah.
literally the opposite of the Undertaker. And then one day Mordecai showed up on TV, and it was the greatest thing ever because it
Now
was
he
like,
didn't. Now did he last long in WWE?
no, not at all. But I mean, I think they were setting it up to be him like an opposite to the Undertaker. Like I've heard that on one of the Bruce Pritchard podcasts, maybe.
Well, I mean, you would almost have to. I mean, look at the character. I mean,
Right.
he's complete opposite of the Undertaker. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, except he's got fire. You'd think he'd be like happy. Like
sure.
in my mind, the Overgiver character I created was a happy guy.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so that that whole thing is just ridiculous. And then on the other end of the seesaw, we got Double J Jeff Jarrett, which is equally ridiculous. I don't know which one of these. So here's what I'm going to try to use to decide which one is better. So, all right, Saul, I'm going to pitch you two gimmicks. One of them, we are potentially going to set you up to where you're going to be a mortal enemy of The Undertaker.
Yes.
You're going to have a fairly similar approach, but you're like the all-white version of The Undertaker.
Yep.
Or we're going to put the letter S all over your clothing. Just everywhere. You're still going to get to wear an awful lot of white, but the letter S is going to be sometimes blue, sometimes turquoise, orange, and we're going to get you a hat with the letter S on it that lights up. But the hat's only going to be orange. We're not getting you other colors of the hats. And then we're going to get you some sunglasses that light up. Also, you were a country singer, so you will get to hit people with a guitar from time to time.
Yeah.
What do you say? We also have no idea who you're going to feud with. We haven't really thought that far. We just really want to put the letter of your name all over some clothes.
So, given those two options, and so they're like, okay, you got to get over. This is how you're going to,
We're giving you these two choices.
I'm going with Mordecai's gimmick because I don't know. It takes a very special person to put over the
letters all over and repeating your name.
Well, he was supposed to be a country star. What country star dresses? Even in the '90s, no country star dressed like that. So I don't.
What are you saying? Eric Church doesn't just wear the letter E all over his stuff? That's like one of the only country singers I know. So so just for that fact alone, I'm going with Mordecai. To be fair, could you not see Billy Ray Cyrus during peak Achy Breaky Heart wearing something equally ridiculous?
No, I don't think so.
All right. So I'm okay with Mordecai moving on. So obviously, if you're this far in, we're just kind of making up the rules for the match, like basically the matchups as we go. But like this one, they're both insane. I don't know how you determine it otherwise without coming up with an interesting scenario.
Well, yeah, I think you did a good job there because if I'm trying to get over, I'm not going to Double J route. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you would never. The reality is, like nowadays, if you had someone who was good do that, people would probably realize how awful it is and be like, they are doing so good at this garbage, and it would get over. It'd be amazing. So, all right, we got Blue Shirt Big Boss Man and $1 Million Man.
Mm-hmm.
So, now, in your mind, are you doing when Big Boss Man became a good guy, or is he still bad guy Big Boss Man?
I'm gonna go with good guy, I guess.
Okay.
That's the one I get.
So this is
that's
after basically DiBiase turned him face because he wanted him to get back the $1 Million title, and they were trying to bribe the law, I believe is what they went with there. So
gotcha.
All right. So I don't know, DiBiase with the tearaway tuxedo that was all sequined out, I always thought looked amazing.
Sure.
Big Boss Man had such good music.
Well, and he continued to wear his outfit while he wrestled. I mean, no, Ted DiBiase just had
he wrestled in
tights.
Yeah, he just had tights with dollar signs on them.
Yeah, so
he was the precursor to Double J. They're like, we didn't put nearly enough dollar signs on Ted DiBiase.
Yes.
Jeff Jarrett. There's 2 J's in his name.
Yes. So for that fact alone, that coming out, he looked good, but I mean, at the end of the day, he just had like money signs on his trunks.
Now, what if we throw in Ted DiBiase's laugh as part of his attire?
No, let's see now. But that's going on wrestler gimmicks, like the actual wrestler himself.
All right.
I
was just trying to make a case.
Rick Rude would have beat Lance Archer.
Well, this is true. So, all right, I am okay with the Big Boss Man. I feel like this one's a toss up.
Yeah.
Seems like these guys should have had a match against each other somewhere, but I don't remember it ever happening.
Yeah, I don't remember it either. You think they would?
I'm gonna have to look. There's no way they did not fight at some point. So all right, we got the Boss Man moving on. So let's go back up to the top here. So we got
Okay.
where we had Brutus and Jushin Thunder Liger. So Brutus won.
Yep.
We had Bastion Booger win the last round.
No, we didn't. We had Mortis in the last round.
Are you sure? All right. See if you're paying attention. So we
Oh, I'm paying
got
attention.
so Mortis, which he obviously I overshadowed with Bastion Booger trying to push him. Now imagine that you're from stories we've heard. Imagine I'm just pushing Roman Reigns on you in the same way, just all the time.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, so we got Mortis against the titanium masked menace of Brutus Beefcake. So we now have
Yes.
two people with masks. They're
Yep.
both essentially comic book characters at this point, or video
Yes.
game characters. Like, there's no way that that's not what's going on here. I mean, look at Mortis has a skull with a gestures cap as a stick for some
Yes.
reason. But we got crazy titanium mask. So what do you think? Like, I don't know. I will say for
I'd
Beefcake.
say it's a toss-up. I mean,
So I'm trying to think of how we would do a tiebreaker on this one. The
they're both ridiculous
yes.
because Mortis was
Now I will
an
say,
arch enemy of Glacier.
which is insane. Like,
Now,
that
okay,
whole
so,
that whole thing is ridiculous. But then you have
So the
Beefcake.
so Brutus's his titanium mask gimmick here. How long did that last?
It was, I genuinely think it was built up for like months for one match.
Gotcha.
Mortis was Mortis for quite a while.
Yes.
Also, Flatliner versus Sleeper. Like, if you're looking for
Yes.
tiebreaker, that's a better move.
Yeah.
However, putting jobbers to sleep and fucking up their hair is... I'm going to have to go in and edit that. Let's see here. 106. Remind me of that.
We'll have to use the goose noise.
I mean, I don't know. Did you see what he did to people's hair? That's the only way to describe it. So I really don't know.
Yeah. I'm going to have to go with Mortis, I guess. Yeah.
All right, I'm okay with Mortis. I mean, they're both. It's insane. Mortis looks cool. Beefcake just looks like Hogan's lackey. Like, if Hogan was a villain on a Saturday morning cartoon show, Brutus is the guy who gets dispatched all the time. Mortis is the guy that Hogan's reporting to.
Now, it saddens me because Mortis becomes uncool when he becomes Canyon. Because when he was Canyon, I hated him. So
The greatest moment ever was because he'd do the Who's Better Than Canyon, and they'd be like, everybody. And then the one time he was like, who isn't better than Canyon? Ha ha ha, I tricked you all.
sure.
For that alone, I think that he gets to move on. So, yeah, I'm fine with Mortis moving on.
Yep.
I did not expect that one at all. All right, so we had Lance Archer has moved on. Lance Archer is now against Macho Man.
Uh-huh.
What do you think?
I think I'm going to choose Lance Archer. As much as I like Macho Man, yeah, the outfit isn't really much to go with right here.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much how all his outfits were. Either it had the stars on it, it had Macho on it, it had Madness on it.
Yeah, he had a few cool robes, but yeah. So basically, it seems like the way we're doing this is if we get into a tiebreaker situation, we start looking for other things. But I don't even think you can get past to get to that, because obviously Macho Man's career and everything else he did is way better at this point. But
if I'm choosing if I'm going by wrestlers, I'm going to go with Macho Man. But just outfits alone, I'm going to go with Lance Archer.
so we're now at the NWO against Kenny Omega.
Okay, all right.
Interesting, but what do you think? Because I find it hard. I would lean towards the NWO.
Really?
Like you said, it's simple, but if you see that logo, which is
Uh-huh.
on all their shirts. Excuse me. You know exactly what they are. It causes like the music to go into your head. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, so if I was a wrestler and I seen this Kenny Omega appear down the hallway, or I saw, like no,
some big
obviously,
dude, just a general big dude wearing an NWO shirt.
But the thing is, you knew there were more around somewhere because
Right.
they traveled and they were a wolf pack, so to speak. So
Yes.
yeah, I would have to go with NWO.
I mean, you could try to argue Bullet Club there, but they just have
Yeah.
so many different shirts and stuff. Trying to think if there's a way I can say, I don't know. I kind of got to go NWO.
Yeah.
Kenny had his moment to be an upset to Sting, I think.
Yes.
And fortunately, we avoided a Sting NWO rematch. So,
Yes.
all right.
Yes.
So Mordecai in a bizarre matchup is now going against the Big Boss Man.
Yes.
So what do you think?
I'm going to go with Big Boss Man there.
Yes. At this point, like, I think Mordecai only got by on his opponent in the last round. So
Yes.
Big Boss Man. Also, Big
Just-
Boss Man
just
had
for-
the nightclub that always sat in the corner with him.
Yep.
And if you're looking at bad guy Big Boss Man, we're looking at good guy, but good guy Big Boss Man was so fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean,
all right. So we're getting down here to the nitty gritty. So we've had Mortis has advanced rather far. So we now have a very Christmassy matchup of Mortis and Lance Archer.
yeah.
So what do you think?
Lance Archer.
Yeah, I want to make an argument for Mortis at this point, but I really can't. Like, at all.
I mean, because I'm just going because I like both their outfits, but if I had to choose, like tiebreakers, I'm going to go with the letdown of the Mortis character versus,
Yeah, I haven't been disappointed by. You know what would be great is if Lance Archer would just use the flatliner or a power bomb or something other
Yes.
than the blackout.
Yeah.
I hate that move. It's gone from just not liking it. I think it's impressive, but I just don't like it as a finisher. It doesn't do it for me.
Sure.
All right, so
So
Lance
yeah,
Archer
I'm gonna
has.
say Lance. Yep.
All right. So then we had the NWO has ran roughshod over everybody,
Yeah.
and they have now ran into the Big Boss Man.
Yes. Which is funny because the Big
I would
Boss
love
was
for
in-
you to make an
was
argument
in the-
for the Big Boss Man over the NWO general attire.
General attire.
Because it's basically jeans and a t-shirt that's very iconic.
Yes.
Can you sell me on Big Boss Man's look being cooler than the NWO? Because Big Boss Man
So-
did wear aviator mirrored sunglasses.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like the classic movie villain, bad guy, like evil sheriff guy or whatever, So
But then he was a good guy because he upheld the law eventually.
yes.
Eventually, he had a turn of heart, and then was attacked by a convict.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, at the end of the day, it's just jeans and a t-shirt versus a
Right,
guy
but
who's
it's-
actually wearing an actual outfit, who actually is portraying a cop, either a vigilante cop or a evil cop.
Handcuffing people, good or bad.
Yes. Yep.
So, are we actually
What
going to
the-
go with Boss Man here?
I'm willing to say Boss Man beats the NWO,
I'm all right with
which is
that.
funny.
I really
Which is
didn't
funny
think that's
because
what was going to
Boss Man
happen.
was- Which because the Boss Man was in the NWO, so
Was he? I mean, I assume
Yeah.
probably everyone on this page was
Ray
in the
Trailer.
NWO.
You'll remember Ray Trailer in the
Yeah,
in
Big
the
Bubba.
NWO?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Big
not
Bubba.
really.
Yeah.
Because basically, like, I never took him serious except when it was the Boss Man.
Well, exactly, because that's the problem when he was.
The name Ray Trailer or Big Bubba is not very intimidating.
Exactly.
Somehow Big Boss
I mean,
Man works for me. I don't understand that one either, but here we
yeah,
are.
when he was in NWO, like you said, he was Big Bubba. He had a nightstick, but he didn't have the outfit, so he was
Yeah.
just a dude with a nightstick.
Well, when he came back to WWE, he was basically pre-Shield gear,
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
and then he was feeding people their dogs. So, all right. So we have actually come down then to Lance Archer against the Big Boss Man in the finals.
Yes.
So
I like them both. I don't know.
I'm gonna say overall, like, because Archer still wrestles in the pants.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure he has the better gear for sure.
So, I'm going
It
to
seems
try
more
to
hip.
Sell, so I want to try to sell you on the Boss Man here. So when the Boss Man when he first starts wrestling in a match,
Yes.
he's he's his outfit's is all buttoned up and everything. But as he's wrestling throughout it, he's getting a little bit more tired. He's getting more energized or whatever. So his shirt starts coming undone a little bit. He just looks like he's putting in a day's work. He's
So you're
all sweaty
saying
and
the shirt where it's a light color and shows the sweat is similar to face paint, where the match has been hard due to the wear that you're seeing on it.
Yeah, because like you said, as he wrestles, the shirt's coming more and more unbuttoned a little bit and stuff like that. This sounds a little bit more like very erotic, but what I'm going with is you can just tell like he's
the working man's cop wrestler.
He's a working man's cop. Yeah, where Lance Archer, because he doesn't wear that shirt or that coat
Vest
during the matches.
We'll call it a vest. No, he takes that off.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has got a much better look than the Big Boss Man for sure on that regard.
Yes. Yeah.
Trying to think, because I like the argument you're making.
Yeah.
When I look at these two, though, I mean, granted, Big Boss Man in this picture is manhandling the Ultimate Warrior, which is an impressive feat. It's hard to see, like, the background even matches his gear in Lance Archer's picture here.
Well, but Archer, though, when he takes off the vest, yeah, because he has tattoos and everything. So the tattoos kind of goes along with the outfit, I guess.
I mean, his
It kinda
hair
matches
matches. He's got the red. It seems too long for me. It seems like someone should grab a hold of it. But,
yeah,
I mean, Murder Hawk, Boss Man. Murder Hawk is a much more threatening name.
yes.
Like,
I think Archer wins.
It's
much
not
as I
by
like the
much.
Boss
Boss Man, he gets to kick out at like 3 1/4
yes.
and show that he could go on.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. I'm pretty sure. I think it's Archer,
Yep.
but I'm weighing it.
Unless you can give me something else with Boss Man.
I mean, you were already trying to sell it pretty good. I think we gotta go with Archer. I kind of don't want Archer to win because I think he might be getting the TNT title, but which I want to go back to that now that we have lost that point forever ago. But all right, so we're gonna crown our victor then of Lance Archer, of out of this crop of people, best gear, with bizarre qualifiers in some cases to decide the winner, but hopefully, like, I've been entertained. I don't know about anyone listening or watching on YouTube, but I'm sure people are like, "You're insane," at whatever. I still can't believe Bastion Booger didn't make it out of the first round that he was in. But I thought for sure.
I'm amazed that you're amazed that he didn't make it out of the first round.
I thought I sold it pretty strong on how awesome it was.
Maybe if you put Hornswoggle in there, maybe he would have beat Hornswoggle. But even then,
I think he could have beat Vince in a hat. Vince in a hat, and maybe Ahmed Johnson. He might have had a chance. Like, I think I could have filibustered for that. I'd probably get him to beat The Miz. That'd be hard. I'd be torn. Two of the greatest wrestlers of all time. But all right, so we got Lance Archer as our winner. So you were saying you think Dustin and Cody are going to be the finals. So how does Dustin get past Lance Archer?
Say what now?
So how does Dustin get past Archer?
For the sheer, did you hear the recording or voicemail that he left for Cody?
Yeah.
How he said, he wants to be the first TNT champion or whatever, and
Okay.
he wants Cody to know how much he mean. He said it would be the championship that means the most of it out of his entire career. And I don't know. I just the way they sold it. People liked the first match between those two.
Right.
I'm thinking they're going that route. I'm thinking that they're going to have Cody versus Dustin, and I think Dustin's going to get the win back from,
Somehow.
Cody.
Okay. Interesting. I
don't know how I don't know how he's going to beat Lance Archer.
Well, I mean,
But,
if they're going for that, they could do something where he gets like a roll up on him, or Archer gets himself DQ'd. There's a few ways they could do that.
Archer.
If he gets himself DQ'd, no. The roll up, depending on what they have going on,
Yeah.
you might be able to make that work, but I just don't know. The thing is, like, if they do the roll up or if they do something, there's a good chance that he's gonna be like, that's gonna play into an ongoing story that might not be like, oh, he's totally screwed. One of the things that I'm used to
I don't
with
see because I think there's an argument that Darby Allin could beat Cody,
right.
but Darby Allin versus Lance Archer or Dustin, that just I don't know. It just seems stupid.
So
Where
one
I'm
of the
to go.
things I saw where people were tossing out theories is they're going to do a Rocky 4 where Archer is going to be what's his name? London's dude. The Russian.
Yeah, the Russian.
Yeah, he's going to be the Russian. And Drago, is that right? I can't remember.
The Russian. Let's call him the Russian.
Russian. And Dustin is going to play the role of Apollo Creed, where he's just going to he's going to put up a good fight, but Archer is going to really hurt him. And then
Archer's gonna
Cody,
kill him.
right, he is going to die. And then
Yes.
Cody is going to end up being in the Rocky role, except this time the bad guy is going to win probably. So I've seen that
Okay.
theory, which seems okay, but I've also seen where that happens. So you would have to do the Cody match first almost. I don't know how you would do it, but basically one of the other theories I read, and I kind of like this idea, is where Archer wins, but you actually have Darby beat Cody, but for whatever reason, basically like Archer injures Dustin or something dirty during it.
Yeah.
So Cody ends up somehow costing Archer the match, and Darby wins. But you'd have to be really careful with that to not. One, you're having a title decided by something screwy. Like, there's a lot of problems with it. But I've seen a few different ideas where you end up with Darby as the first champion. Basing it as like that would be big for him, and people really like him. So, like, basically, it seems like you could do any of the four really, and get a good story out of it. It's just being careful with, because like Darby losing to Cody again seems like that would hurt him some, but also him getting murdered might not be the best idea either.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I want to say having Archer do anything without Jake the Snake there, I think kind of. I
Isn't as good?
Kind of cheapens. Yeah, I don't think it's as good. I think that's why you just need to save it.
Right. Well, if Archer wouldn't have been put with Jake, it wouldn't be so bad, but like Jake's so good,
Yeah.
it's a shame to not have him. So I see that for sure. But I was just kind of curious to that because of all the ideas I've heard people talk about, Dustin being in the end was not one of them. So that was an interesting. I like the idea though. So really, as long as they do some kind of story that makes any kind of sense, it seems like we'll have a pretty interesting thing. I want to see a picture of the belt.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I will ask you at this point. We are really long.
Kind of long. Yes.
Now,
I
I
would
feel
say-
that our tournament of clothing, our dudes in gear,
Yeah.
first round one of many probably, was pretty good. Do you feel like that is good enough for an episode?
I think we're good because I have to go someplace, so I'm going to have to leave here pretty soon.
Okay.
So I would just say let's kind of wrap it up.
Yep, I'm fine with that. So we have things we will talk about in the future. But I mean, really, we haven't done much or watched much that weren't too much talking. I'm going to put a picture up of this sweet Death Knight gear I found out about.
Okay, yeah.
And then the Honeyback Harvester in Warcraft. And the
so
tower. Like, there's some cool stuff going on there, but we'll have time in the future to talk about that. So,
yeah, so we just talk about that next week.
Yep. So congratulations to Lance Archer. He has won one tournament. Maybe he will win another. All right, everybody. Take care and look for.
Wash your hands.
Yeah. Wash your hands a lot with lava.
Yeah.
There you go.
With lime.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one, everybody.
See ya.